Earlier this year, FIFA officials flew to Mexico City to inspect the stadium chosen to open the 2026 World Cup. While they were there, the road outside it gave way. A delivery truck dropped straight into the hole that opened in the street. This is the Estadio Azteca, and the ground underneath this part of Mexico City has been vanishing for 100 years. For 60 years, the Azteca has been one of the most famous buildings in world football. It has hosted 2 World Cup finals. Pelé won here. Maradona won here. And on June 11, 2026, it will become the first stadium in history to host matches at 3 different World Cups. But it sits in a city that is sinking faster than almost anywhere on Earth. So, there is an obvious question. Is the stadium going down with it? To answer that, we need 3 things. The story of how the Azteca was built, the story of the lake underneath the city, and the view from a satellite that launched less than a year ago. The answer is stranger than the headlines. Estadio Azteca's story begins with volcanic fire, not football. Nearly 2 millennia ago, Chitle erupted on the southern edge of the Valley of Mexico, sending a river of basalt across the land. This stone, born of ancient lava, is dense and strong. Mechanical tests show it withstands compressive forces of 120 to 180 megapascals, a stark contrast to the soft clays that undermine buildings in the city center. By 1962, the site was a wild plateau of jagged basalt. Construction crews faced a monumental task, blasting out 180,000 tons of volcanic rock. Dynamite and jackhammers carved a level platform from the hardened flow, transforming a geological obstacle into an asset. Beneath the stadium, the basalt layer stretches up to 20 meters thick, forming a natural barrier against the compressible lakebed clays that cause so much trouble elsewhere in Mexico City. Once the basalt was cleared, engineers installed a dense grid of concrete slabs, each over 1 meter thick, anchored deep into the volcanic base. More than 2,000 reinforced concrete piles were driven down to the underlying limestone, distributing the stadium's weight evenly and preventing uneven settling. The result? A bowl-shaped arena designed to rest atop the valley's hardest ground. Above this engineered platform, the architects divided the stands into segmented tiers, separated by expansion joints. The stadium's roof, a single span of steel and concrete, stretches 150 meters, and no interior columns interrupt the view. This was not just an aesthetic choice. The split stands and cantilevered roof were designed to let the structure flex during earthquakes, absorbing seismic shocks instead of cracking under pressure. Every decision, from the basalt foundation to the segmented stands and sweeping roof, served one purpose: stability. In a city where streets sink and monuments tilt, Estadio Azteca stands apart. The engineers left no signatures, but their work endures in every match, anchoring the stadium to a landscape shaped by fire and a future that resists the city's slow descent. Mexico City's surface is a patchwork of hidden risks. Underneath the bustling streets, a slow-motion collapse is underway. Most of the city sits atop the old bed of Lake Texcoco, a deep, soft layer of clay that once cushioned water, not skyscrapers. Here, the ground is not solid, it is a living, shifting mass, constantly squeezed by the weight of millions and drained by relentless human thirst. Every year, more than 30 million cubic meters of groundwater are pumped from beneath the city. The effect is invisible at first, but as water leaves, the clay compresses and the land above sinks. In some neighborhoods, the ground drops by 30 to 50 centimeters a year, enough for entire blocks to tilt, crack and buckle within a single generation. Hydrogeologists measure this movement with a clinical precision, a consolidation index of 0.6 for the Texcoco clays, among the highest in any major city. This number is not just academic. It means the earth beneath the city is primed to collapse if left unsupported. The consequences are everywhere. The Angel of Independence, a monument that once stood proud and straight, now leans. Engineers have added new steps to its base, just to keep the statue level with the street. Archival photos show the gap between the marble and the bronze widening year after year, a visible barometer of the city's descent. This is not a uniform process. The sinking is patchy, shaped by old drainage channels, leaking pipes, and the uneven draw of wells. Some districts remain stable for decades, while others drop at breakneck speed. The result is a city where roads warp, foundations crack, and ancient landmarks seem to slide sideways into history. These changes are not the work of earthquakes or sudden disaster. They are the legacy of centuries-old drainage projects and modern over-extraction. The city's own growth has become its greatest geological threat. In this environment, the panic over stadiums and sinkholes is more than just media hype. It is rooted in the very ground Mexico City stands on. But to separate real danger from rumor, new tools are needed, ones that can see the invisible motion beneath our feet. A 12-meter radar dish orbits 747 kilometers above Mexico City, scanning the ground with microwave pulses invisible to the human eye. This is NISAR, the NASA and ISARO synthetic aperture radar mission, launched in July 2025 with a singular promise: to detect ground movement anywhere on Earth, down to a single centimeter. Every 12 days, NISAR's dual-band L-band and S-band sensors sweep over the city, building a time-lapse of the surface itself. The resulting interferograms, those swirling, color-coded maps, translate invisible shifts into hard evidence. In April 2026, NASA released a new deformation map of Mexico City. The city center, built on ancient lakebed, glows in deep blue, a warning sign for engineers, a visual record of up to 2 centimeters of vertical drop every month. But the stadium's footprint, just south of the chaos, stands out in pale yellow. No dramatic contours, no sign of collapse. The Azteca sits on a block that barely moves. To prove the satellite's eye is not deceived by concrete or steel, scientists cross-check the radar results with ground-based GNSS stations. These permanent GPS benchmarks, managed by Mexico's National Geodetic Service, record their own vertical position with millimeter precision. Over a year's worth of data, the difference between NISAR's readings and the GNSS logs is less than half a centimeter. The correlation is nearly perfect. R equals 0.94, leaving little room for doubt. Where the city's monuments require new steps to keep up with the sinking street, the stadium's foundation barely registers a pulse. The numbers are decisive. The ground beneath Estadio Azteca is stable by every scientific measure available. The headlines may shout about a stadium sinking, but the satellite data, validated by boots on the ground, tell a different story. The real danger lies in the patchwork of old pipes and rushed construction that surround the arena, not in the earth that holds it up. On March 5, 2026, a delivery truck rolled onto Circuito Azteca and vanished into the ground. The pavement, newly paved for the World Cup, gave way beneath its wheels, leaving the truck stranded in a gaping sinkhole, just meters from the stadium gates. The incident caught the attention of FIFA inspectors on site that morning. Their official notes describe a localized collapse likely caused by drainage failure and groundwater seepage. City engineers traced the problem to a corroded stormwater pipe, ruptured by decades of shifting clay and unchecked leaks. The fix was urgent, but not unusual. In this part of Mexico City, water and gravity conspire to hollow out the ground below even the most modern roads. The stadium itself was in the final sprint of a $175 million renovation. Contractors raced to finish upgrades, new seats, VIP lounges, LED screens, and a re-engineered field, all under a tight deadline and a shifting budget. Audit records show a cascade of change orders, each narrowing the project's scope to keep costs in check. Drainage repairs, originally slated for a full overhaul, were trimmed to patchwork fixes. Inspectors flagged missing rebar caps, exposed wiring, and incomplete waterproofing in the lower stands. The schedule left little room for error. 2 months later, during a Liga MX quarterfinal in May, a chunk of concrete broke loose from the upper tier and tumbled into the crowd. No injuries, but fan videos captured the fragment as a grim souvenir. Maintenance logs reference a loose concrete element on the same section, tied to rushed finishing work and skipped quality checks. The headlines wrote themselves, Azteca Stadium in crisis as World Cup opener nears. By the end of May, FIFA assumed operational control. Their safety team imposed a strict inspection regime and required daily structural checks in the run-up to the June 11th opening match. 80,000 tickets had already been sold. The countdown was on. Every flaw, every leak, every crack became a potential flashpoint. The stadium's volcanic foundation remained steady, but the human systems layered above it, pipes, concrete, contracts, proved far less predictable. Beneath the roar of football legends, volcanic stone holds firm while the city's clay foundation sinks away. Headlines warn of collapse, but satellite data tells another story. The real threat is uneven ground, not myth. Stability is rare in Mexico City, and the Azteca stands as living proof. What do you think?